Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome to IRC Season 8, Round 10 at the lovely Interlagos circuit. This is roughly the halfway mark in the season, so an important period for the ones at the front in the Drivers' Championship to extend their lead a bit. And I think the drivers will have an opportunity to do that today because currently some of the front runners in the championship are unavailable. So, Round 10 will be a big step for some of the other drivers to close the gap on the leaders, if you will. Good evening. My name is Aidsel. I'll be your commentator for today, and joining me in the commentary box is HaphazardKing. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm quite excited for this race. I think this is fantastic track, and with these drivers up there racing, I think we'll see some amazing action on track here. So yeah, quite excited.
Absolutely. Interlagos has a lot to offer in terms of a driver's track as well as a spectator's track. Always generates some good racing action, and a safety car might also be on the cards. But before we head into the session, let's have a quick look at the track guide. All right then, 4.3 kilometers, 15 turns. Interlagos, steeped in history, has been in F1 for quite a long time. The layout has changed a couple of times through the years, but these 15 turns are going to be a very definitive evening for our boys in Tier 1. Let's have a look at the hot lap. Right then, the circuit autodromo Jose Carlos Pachi, bring it over to the right-hand side for turn one, throw the car in. Important to keep it within track limits as we go through the center entrance, hook the car over to the left-hand side to get the shortest possible run down the first DRS straight, down the Beta Posta, down to turn four. Very easy to exceed track limits here, very easy to exceed track limits around this entire circuit. In fact, keeping it on track and pushing the track limit is going to be crucial. Coming down to turn 6 and 7, a fast double right section that brings us to the end of sector 1. Hook the car in for turn 8 and 9. Bring the car over to the right hand side for turn 10 and immediately over to the left hand side for turn 11. A fast left hand curve going down the hill over to the infamous Junkao corner, turn 12. Very easy to lose traction on the exit of this corner, and now we come down an almost NASCAR style back straight along curving speedball section. Important to get your exit right through turn 11, and that is the lap of the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pachi.
All right, everyone, welcome back. That was one hell of a fast lap right there, and that's something that I guess we'll be looking forward to in quali. So let's just see how quali is going right now.
Actually, the quali, the session isn't up yet, so our
All
fast
right.
boys are still joining in, so it will take some time.
Yeah, sure.
So,
Sure. By that time, I think we'll just discuss about the history of this brilliant attack. I mean, if we just look back, maybe 5 years or so, I think we had some amazing races. One of the best ones I can remember is 2019 with Verstappen winning, and of course Gasly and Hamilton having that amazing drag, fight down the main straight in the end, just tense off each other. Pretty good year that was for our the Brazilian fans, and even 2021 was pretty entertaining for everyone. Seeing Hamilton just breeze through half of the field in the sprint race, and then again push his car to the absolute limit in the race, trying to chase Verstappen, who again was quick in that Red Bull. Probably one of the most recent and best entertaining races we've had. And then going back a bit further, I think Interlagos is one of those rare tracks that always had the best or the most interesting season finale. The best I can think of is 2008 with Hamilton against Massa. I mean, Hamilton gambling for I believe if I'm not wrong, it was Glock on the wets and Hamilton was on the sticks, and somehow the track started to dry up, and Hamilton went for that last lap, last turn overtake to get the championship. Amazing race with a lot of switchback, or a lot of ups and downs in the midfield and on the top step as well.
Also gave
One of
us a
the other
fantastic commentary line, and is that Glock, as Martin Brundle said as they came through Junkao corner. So it was a great little battle. And tagging on to what you were saying, I think Interlagos, I think until a recent While before Abu Dhabi joined the calendar, I think Interlagos was the last track of the season. So we normally saw championship battles come right down to the wire at Interlagos, which is why we've seen so many great battles here over the years. It's because the track has always managed to extract the maximum in terms of racing from drivers because there's always been something on the line. But in recent years, that magic has died off a little bit because obviously we have the I don't know what to call Abu Dhabi. I wouldn't say mediocre. I would go as far as saying mediocre because it really isn't a very fun track to race on. But it has become the kind of season finale round now. I mean, in recent years, the championship has been concluded well before the Abu Dhabi round, apart from last year, of course. The less said about that, the better. But yeah, as you say, Interlagos has always thrown up a good battle. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that it has been the last round of the season for many a season. So we've seen many generations of drivers and rivals take it out to the track here at Interlagos. And I think that will be another opportunity today. Although I think Moto, who's the current drivers' championship leader in IRC Tier-1, won't have as much opposition because his two main championship rivals are not racing today, I believe.
That is very important news. That gives a lot of points to the current championship leader if that is the case, and hopefully, if hopefully Moto can get a good result out of this day today. Because if he doesn't, then it's a wasted opportunity. I think it rarely, you rarely get this lucky where you're fighting for championship and the other two drivers are unable to show up. So let's see what Moto can pull off today.
So we just saw the
Yeah,
weather forecast flashed up on the screen there, and it seems to be a fully dry quali and a fully dry race. But the presence of cloudy atmospheres means the drivers won't have to be fighting the tire temperatures too hard. The track will be a little cooler than what we've seen in the other tiers so far this weekend. I think the tier two race as well was cloudy, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, it'll be a little easier on the tire temperatures. We'll be able to manage them a bit better. The strategy here, we'll get into that a little bit later on in the stream, but it's primarily the main strategy is going to be a one stop, assuming there aren't any safety cars. All the drivers will be going for that. It's a pain, but the one stop is the one they have to persevere with. But obviously, a safety car can obviously throw a spanner into the works, if you will. So it's going to be interesting to see how the drivers plan their strategies out. We're seeing a couple of them come out on the medium tires. Anything you can chip in on here, Haphazard?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're just trying to get a basic or a base lap up, just to see how far they need to push on those soft tires, which corners are trickier. They're just trying to understand the grip level of this track right now, at what stage it is, because of course we all know once these tires start going out, the grip changes because of these, the guys that are running on it. Of course, it's going to get grippier and grippier as the track, as the time moves on, it's going to get grippier. So hopefully, for now, I think most of them are looking for a soft to medium strategy, because I can see a lot of people decide to go on a medium. So I wonder if they're not gonna give a lot of attention to a medium to soft strategy. But mainly this could be because of safety car. I think if you're on the medium and if you find a safety car within the first few laps, your medium strategy is completely ruined, because that gives a 3 pit stop to. And as we were speaking, Envy loses his grip on the inside of that curve around turn 5 and just spins it. Luckily, he didn't move in the opposite direction, otherwise it would have landed in the wall. But yeah, like I was saying, if the safety car comes out in the first 2 laps, the soft tire runners will, of course, get a 3 pit stop out of it. And I believe with these cold track conditions, those medium tires could run till the end, even if you pit on lap 6 or 5. If you really are being conservative with this guy. So the safety car can, of course, ruin the medium running race, and maybe that's why people are opting for the soft strategy.
Absolutely. Great insight there from HaphazardKing in terms of from a strategy perspective. I think in terms of variability, I think this track particularly, there's a lot of variance in terms of strategy. You can go for a number of different options and still find yourself fighting for podium places, maybe even the win. As we get our first lap on the board, it's a 108.9, which is, I think, a second and a half off the pace. I would say easily there's still 107s, maybe even the high 106s to be found here in quali today. I think with the tier 2 boys, I think our pole was a 107.3. So if the tier 1 boys have anything to prove, it's that the 106s are definitely possible today. But so far, everyone is just getting to grips with the track conditions, getting to grips with the track limits there as Moto invalidates his lap almost immediately. So he'll have to back off and have another go. Akash Sonawane currently on the medium tires. A lot of drivers currently on the mediums experimenting, as Haphazard mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, and just trying to get a feel for the track conditions as Aradhya tops the timing sheets with a 108.1 on the medium tires. He's pretty much displaced all the soft runners before him, so it was a really impressive lap from the McLaren driver, improving a lot this season. McLaren themselves are pretty strong in the constructors. They're currently 4th in the constructors and only 4 points off P2. P1, P2, P3 and P4 are separated by just 4 points in the constructors championship. So McLaren have a lot to play for, and they'll actually be in a position of power today because some of the other drivers from the other constructors aren't racing. So they'll have a chance to maybe close up the gap to Haas, who are kind of running away with the championship a bit here, both drivers and constructors. But yeah, a lot to play for today in today's race. Even though we're not at full strength, there's still a lot of points up for grabs in both championships. So the drivers will be putting their all into every lap as Envy tops the timing sheets with a 107.4. So we're into the 107s and he moves everyone downwards. I think Banat also put in a lap on the medium, so 108.5 for him. So a little off the pace, but again, the medium runners, the whole purpose is to get as close to the front as possible without starting on the softs, so the reverse strategy will come into play.
Yeah, I think what you referred to last is, of course, these guys aren't going as fast as they can because firstly they want to test the track surface, and you don't want to push immediately and go into wall and destroy your entire race, because if you retire in quali, you're done for, and you'll probably lose a lot of positions in quali. So they probably are trying to test the grip levels. You saw how easy it was for NB to lose his grip around that corner, around turn 5, when he went on the curb a bit too quickly. So these guys are definitely trying to see how far they can stretch and then go for the fastest lap at the end. We'll probably say someone going for 106 at the end of the race. And looking at how fast these guys are going, the level of skill they're operating on, I'm definitely thinking the 106 is possible at this track by these drivers. So it's just a matter of time before we start seeing people break the 106 barrier, then we have a 107.478. So right now, these drivers still are very close on a track that's not really that grippy yet. So hopefully, once we get an idea, once we start seeing these drivers really start to push these cars on their laps, we'll start to see something special pop out from them. I think if I'm a bit new here, HCL, so could you let me know what are the drivers I need to take a look at? Who are the really quick ones that are always up there fighting for pole?
The championship standings, I think we've segued nicely into that, so I think we can give everyone a rundown of the drivers standings, and that will also give you a good idea of who's the drivers to watch out for. There's obviously been a couple who haven't featured in a couple of races this season, so they find themselves a little bit off the top in terms of points, but Moto currently leads the championship. Moto for the Haas team currently leads the championship 20 points gap ahead of Couple in P2, and Real SD in P3 is about 40 points away. So Couple and SD not participating in today's race, but Helium is participating in today's race. He's P4 in the driver standings and about 56, roughly about 40 points off Moto in the driver standings. So he'll have a chance to close up on that gap today if he can do well in quali. ABNV is also in the race today and he's driving for Ferrari. He's also roughly around 50 points off the top. Aradhya Gupta, Banat, Wilster and Akash round off the top 10. Oxygen as well, but Oxygen is currently not in today's race. Black Sheep is also one to keep an eye out for. He hasn't featured in many races this season, so he'll want to return to the top as soon as possible. He'll want to get back on pace. He's been struggling a little bit with incidents during the race, which basically destroy the entire race for him. He gets involved in incidents at the beginning or a spin, and then he has to find himself on a catch-up game. So I think, along with both of us in the commentary box, I think even Dan will want Black Sheep to do really well. But in the past, Dan has jinxed him a bit. So
I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, so I think it would be wise to not put too much attention on Black Sheep until it comes to the latter stages of the race, in a hope that he does manage to have a good race. And currently it's not going too well for him. He's invalidated a couple of laps on the previous run, and now he's on a fresh set of softs, and he'll be hoping to put in a representative lap as I'm looking at the timing sheets, and a few notable names are up there, and a few notable names are not there. So Ashray, Aradhya Gupta, and Envy. That's a or Ashray. Envy, Ashray, and Aradhya Gupta at the top of the timing sheets is very interesting because those three guys have been in Tier 1 for a while now, but they've not really been able to string together a strong quali. And I think this would benefit them really well if they can start further up. Maybe they might cause a few problems for some of the faster guys who are a bit further down in qualifying right now. So Moto, Wilster, Black Sheep, Akash, all these guys find themselves a little bit off the pace right now. Of course, granted, it's not the final run of quali, but still something to keep in mind going into the second half. And Banat finds himself perfectly smack in the middle of all the fast guys and the slower guys. So it'll be interesting to see how he improves as well as Rissel improves on his lap, and we see almost into the 106s.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the constructors championship and the standings, I feel like you said, Moto and Helium have a lot to lose today, and they'll probably want to be up there. But even if they're not up there, I think Banat and Ashray have an important job to do for their teammates. Definitely a place like Brazil, if your teammates can control the pace, if your teammates can assist you, then that could easily bring you additional points over to your side. I think if somehow Moto and Helium are unable to put a good lap up, I think their teammates, if they can continue their good qualifying, could really help them today. I mean, they could make some interesting strategy calls as well together, working together. So hopefully we see some strategic play. Normally I don't like a one stop because it gets a bit boring. That's why I prefer two stops. When things get interesting with tire temperature, tire degradation. But even if it's a one stop, hopefully if strategy can play a bold call later in the race, then it will be an interesting one to watch at least.
Yep, absolutely.
Definitely. So looking at Aradhya, he's gone fastest now. Of course, he's broken the 107 barrier by going into 106.983. And yeah, that's a quick lap from him. Again, as per your explanation, I feel again McLaren feel like they have something hidden up their sleeve. They can pull off a good lap out there. So maybe I think we might see something from Aradhya right now if he, of course, can stick to his position at the start of the race, because that's very important. One thing I noticed with the race start in Tier X is I think the Pro qualified P1. It was it was Erode in P1, I believe Cathy in P2, and Pace Team 3. I think the start is extremely important because if you mess that up, then you are inviting someone for a dive on the inside or the outside, and you can lose a lot of positions in those exchanges because those two corners are pretty slim. So if you don't travel correctly, then you might see some incidents in the first lap. So you have to be careful, and you have to make sure that your race start is pretty good, or at least comparatively good enough, so that you can defend your position or try to go for an overtake. And if you are trying to go for an overtake, you have to be extremely careful going into those corners, because if you make one mistake, it's you and the other guy out of this race. Unless, of course, there's a
I agree. The Senna S does play a huge role here at Interlagos, and there's a number of lines through that corner as well. So when drivers go side by side, there's no one driver who has the advantage over the other. And obviously, with two back-to-back DRS straights before and after the Senna S, it's going to be quite a hot spot in terms of overtaking and side-by-side action. While you were talking, I was just noticing that again, mentioning about Aradhya Gupta, he's done really well this season to establish himself among the fastest guys. Sometimes he can have a little bit of issue with managing his tires. Sometimes he gets a little bit too excited when it comes to battles. But for someone who's on controller, he's really taking it to these wheel boys, and he's really putting up a good fight. And he's also giving McLaren some really solid points. Wilster as well. On his previous run, 4-lap old softs, not really ideal for the McLaren driver, but we'll expect him to improve on that time a little later. But Helium as well, who you were watching until very recently, he's been struggling at the beginning of the season, but he's gotten up to speed now that he has, I think this is his first season without a certain assist. I think he was using I think he was using ABS until last season, so this season he's currently having to deal with turning that off. So he's done pretty well to recover the championship after having a few shaky races at the beginning. But yeah, this qualifying session I feel like it's going to go right down to the wire, as some of the fast boys are now going to open the taps up a bit and go for it, because they've got a representative time on the board. Moto definitely will not be happy with his time so far, a 1:10.2, but he hasn't really gone on the soft tires as of yet. He's only gone on the medium, so only time will tell what he plans on doing. I think he has bolted on a fresh set of softs now, so this should be the lap that hopefully gets Moto up to the front of the pack, if not on provisional pole. So he'll be hoping this lap he can string a good lap together here, although I think this won't be that lap because he's 7/10 down on his personal best going through sector 1. So he's got some time to make up there as he passes his teammate going through sector 2. Important to keep within track limits there, as he just edged outside on the apex on the outside and has to concede that lap completely, although he'd be happy to do that because, well, it was already pretty far off the pace as well.
I'm sorry, Moto. Could you take over for a few seconds? I just have a call to pick up.
Yep, sure, no problems, man. 3 minutes left in quali. Aradhya Gupta currently in provisional pole, but how long will he hold that, and will he be able to lead the pack into turn 1 coming into the race? Only time will tell. As Moto comes across the line, he will begin another flying lap. He'll hope that this one is the one that counts. Obviously, I said that on the last flying lap and he invalidated, but hopefully the luck changes for the Haas driver. He's currently sitting in P11 outside the top 10, so the only benefit that he really has right now is free tire choice, and who knows, maybe that's his plan in the end anyway. Maybe his plan is to start on those medium tires or start on a tire of his choice and make the strategy work exactly how he wants it to. But ideally, knowing Moto, he'll want to be on pole position and control the pack right from the get-go. His teammate currently sitting in P7, few drivers off the pace. Really interesting to see. I'm not sure if they're just easing their way into the session or what, but it's going to be curious how the order changes. Still a lot of time remaining, at least 2 laps for every driver remaining on the board. So maybe even more actually, if you come to think about it. If they're already on a lap, they may have a lap and then a cool down lap and then the potential to go for another one. So it's going to be curious to see just how these guys manage their tires. Currently, Akash Sonamani is the only one on a fresh set of softs. Everyone else is carrying a little bit of wear. Ooh, that's a big slipstream there from somebody. Not quite sure. That was 2 Haas drivers coming together there, it seemed like. But Moto, did he invalidate that lap? Didn't go up on the timing sheet at all.
He actually just slowed down a little bit before that last corner. Actually, the second last corner, if you count that kink as a corner, then yeah, that will be the second last corner. So yes, that plan was to provide Banath with some slipstream. I mean, seeing that he is now in P4, he has improved considerably, I guess by 3-4 tenths maybe. He was on 7.8 something, but now he's in 7.347.
I think Moto just realized that this qualifying session is not going too smoothly for him, so he's being a real team player here, helping Banath get to the front, and it's done favors, maybe 3 or 4 tenths as you said, Dan, but it's not really helped out too much. He's moved up from P7 to P4, still nowhere near the front and still massively off the pace. Aradhya Gupta is far ahead right now, has improved on his laps since then. He's retired from the session as well. Might be a smart choice. He's only got 1 lap of wear on those softs, so he's put in a really good lap, and he's also managed to conserve his tires really well. Whereas Moto is, I think this will be the lap that he goes for it. He can bring up the telemetry.
I think it's best that he doesn't go for, like, look at that, he doesn't even have his ERS on, so he's just scrubbing off those tires.
And he invalidated it as well, so it's gone.
Yeah, I think I heard Moto, I was talking to Moto a little earlier before the race, and I think he was mentioning that he's planning on doing some sort of major comeback drive this race. He was telling me that due to some of his championship contenders, the championship rivals not being in the race, so SD and Kapil are not here today. So he said, I can go into this race a little bit more relaxed. Of course, totally not be devoid of any kind of practice. So I think all the driving that we've seen from Moto so far has just been him trying to get some practice at Brazil on a number of tire compounds. Helium, wow, only manages to put in a 107.5. That's a very good lap, do not get me wrong, but Aradhya is in a whole different league right now. So very, very impressive from the McLaren driver. Considering he was doing another league race at Spa earlier today, this is really impressive from the young McLaren driver on the controller as well. So even more props for him. Rissel manages to put himself up on the front row with a 107.0, still about a tenth or so off the pace. I'd say half a tenth off. Shastry putting himself on the second row.
I'm sorry, while we're speaking about Ashley, we see Helium's on a pretty quick lap right now. He's got a purple sector 1
That's
right
his
now.
AI.
Helium's already completed his qualifying. I think he crossed the line a little bit too late, so he's got the checkered flag across his name, and yeah, that does mean the end of quali. And I think Aradhya will very comfortably keep his pole position as dear, we left the session. Hopefully that doesn't cause too many issues in the server, but there is your standings if we can run it through, Haphazard.
Yeah, of course, we have Aradhya on pole position, well deserved with an extremely quick lap. Then we have Risty, Ashray, and of course, Yasin Martin. Then we have Banat, Akash. Then we have Wilster, Envy, Helium, Harry Rocks, Dawn29, Moto, and of course, Black Sheep in P12 right now, with no time, of course, allotted to his qualifying. One of the interesting things is how far ahead right now Ashray is. I didn't expect him to put it up in P3, but an outstanding lap by Ashray, of course, putting that car so far ahead. And normally, again, Asher is a driver I feel who has good quality pace, but of course, racecraft is where he falters. So hopefully he can fix that today. Maybe he can retain that podium position, try to convert it into a win. Of course, a track like Brazil with so many long straights, with so many flowing corners, it's not too hard to overtake or follow another car. It's very easy. Actually, it's pretty easy to catch up to another car because of the turns in sector 2 and sector 3. They're pretty easy on the car. Even with dirty air, you won't lose a lot of time behind some other cars, and you can still stick to another car within if you're 1 second behind them. So quite interesting to see this lineup. I think there's more to come in the race. As you said, Moto apparently has decided to start from last. So that would be very interesting to see Moto go from P10 to, P11 to P1. If he does manage to do that, would be something very close to how Lewis Hamilton sort of, went from P20 to P1 at Brazil. All I know is it will be very entertaining to watch. A track like Brazil, you can easily see uh, pretty pretty quick overtakes if you're on the right tire with the right strategy, and if you're managing your ERS very well again. So yeah, I'm quite excited to see what happens in the race. Hopefully, we can have a race with less incidents, because of course that we want everyone to sort of race cleanly, race fairly with each other. We're racing here, not fighting each other. So hopefully we can see some close racing, some wheel-to-wheel action, and some amazing overtakes. What are your opinions on the qualifying, Eitzel?
I think it's thrown up. I think it's thrown up a lot of surprises. I think we're seeing a couple of drivers who normally would not find themselves in that position. I think they found themselves quite far up, maybe to their own surprise, maybe. I think Ashray is definitely one of them who, I'm not saying he's a slow driver by any measure. He's definitely in tier 1, and only the fastest boys end up in tier 1. But he's found himself a little shaky at the beginning of the season. It's taken him some time to adjust to the PC platform. He's coming from Xbox, so you might be more familiar with his pace. But yeah, he's managed to put in a really good lap to put himself on the second row. We'll have to see how well he does in the race itself. A strong start might help him out, maybe jump a couple of drivers, maybe find himself in P2 or even P1. But you have to keep in mind that some of the faster boys are just behind him. Banat and the like, and Helium as well, are just behind. And they'll be bouncing at every opportunity to get past him and get into his mind and try to force him into mistakes. So Starmax as well as Rissel and Aradhya on pole, who all have to keep a pretty cool head if they're going to turn that good qualifying result into a good race result. Because if there has been any opportunity for these guys, some of the unsung heroes, some of the boys in the midfield to really make an impression in Tier 1. Now is the opportunity because a few of the drivers are not available. So this is a chance for them to get on podium and make an impression. And I'm really excited for this one, even though we have a little bit less attendance than what we usually do. It's a chance, as I said, for some of the midfield drivers to put on a show for us, and maybe we get to see a few dive bombs here and there because, you know, they don't get many opportunities to be out in front, and so they won't get many opportunities to go for the lead. So it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, definitely. This race will be pretty monumental for some of these drivers. It is, you know, a look at how good their race car could be or how good they are, you know, when they're fighting with people that can, you know, that are surrounded by relatively close space. So right now we see Aradhya, of course, leading everyone in the formation lap. Of course, he's going to, you know, set the pace. He's going to make sure that the guys behind can follow properly and, you know, not end up creating a bit of a bigger gap because they want to keep the tires as hot as possible. You know, if you are starting on a fairly cold tires, you're going to lose a lot of positions at the start, and it's very important to make sure that your start is strong. That's probably one of the most important aspect of some of these races is the start. So you need to make sure you at least maintain your position if you're not going to make any moves into turn 1 or maybe turn 4, which is interesting because of the track layout. Even if you don't see any moves in turn 1, if you get a good exit out of turn 2, you know, going towards turn 3 and out of turn 3 towards turn 4, you can also see an overtake there because it's a long straight. Slipstream does have an effect here. And with ERS mixed in, you can easily see someone going wheel to wheel around that corner. So it's very interesting to see how everything might turn up. But it looks like our drivers are getting ready on their grid slots. Yeah, so the grid, right. Yeah, the final black sheet is ready. So the grid is ready, the drivers are ready, the tires are hot, and now we wait for 5 laps to start this round 3, and it's lights out and away we go. And it looks like Whistle stalled on the start. He's losing so many positions. He's getting squeezed by the flank. Aradhya, on the other hand, got a very good start, and so did Akash, and so did Banata. If I'm being honest, Ashley, of course, retaining P2 because of the unlucky start with the Mercedes. Banat retains P3, NB is in P4, and of course Akash had a good start. He popped up out into P3, but ended up losing some of the positions after turn 3. Right now we're following Helium, of course, who's retained his position. He neither has lost nor gained anything, but is now stuck behind. Stuck behind the Alfa Romeo of Harry Rocks, and now we're looking at Akash Sonawani. Akash, I'll just call him Akash. Yes, right now we're following a lot of characters because right now these guys are extremely close. You can see everyone up till, you know, everyone is just within 1 second of each other. They're so close. They're, you know, maintaining that gap pretty well right now. And, you know, it looks like everyone got off to a very good start, apart from the Mercedes, who just ended up losing all of his positions and is now in peace. And hopefully he can pull off something, you know, reset a bit and just start to take those positions back one after the other. You've seen him put out good laps in qualifying. He just needs to repeat that in the race now. But right now we're following Ashley, of course, who's fallen back a bit more than he wished he would. He's right now 1.3 seconds behind Aradhya. So Aradhya is putting on a pretty good lap and has now created a gap of 1.4, which is good because now he is not under threat with DRS. So he has a bit of an easier job maintaining that gap and, you know, maintaining his DRS. The hard work is done. Ashray is currently working as, you know, unintentionally working as a sort of a shield for Aradhya to, you know, slow down these boys. But hopefully, you know, if Ashley can find his pace, maybe we can see, you know, Ashley sort of, you know, maybe follow, be able to catch up to Aradhya pretty soon in the race. Again, if I was Aradhya, I would probably increase the gap a bit more because, of course, the undercut is a big threat here, and strategy will have an important role to play. And it looks like the stewards have, or race control has enabled DRS, so now we can see moves. And it looks like the Mercedes is going for a move on Harry Rocks right now, he's taken the inside line around the center S, and he just got a better traction under the corner, now has TRS as well, so hopefully he can retain that position. Helium looks to be searching for a gap right behind Harry Rocks, trying to see if he can go for a move or not. I think he dropped down a position or two. Unfortunately, maybe he had a bit of a bad exit out of the main straight or something. But again, these guys are following a bit too closely, so it's hard to understand when a move is available. Only if someone makes a mistake, like if someone goes wide at the corner, then only we can see someone go for a move. Because again, for now, a lot of the field has DRS, so DRS won't be an important factor just yet in the race. Of course, it's going to assist our drivers, but it's not going to have a big effect. Right now, we can also see Shastry, who's keeping Banat behind, but not for long, because Banat is going on for a move, I think, but he's just a bit too far back. He's trying to see if he can go for switch back, but again, he's just unable to get enough traction onto the corner. But now he's a bit too close with DRS. It will be an easy move. He's decided to go for the inside line towards turn 4, but again, he'll have this move done before the turn even comes, and Shastry has lost one position.
I've just noticed that after a hectic few opening laps, she has got a safety car. Harry and Wilster have made contact, it seems like, and the two drivers have retired from the race, and this will be a major shifting point in the race. I'm going to see if anybody is going to be... Oh no, and Moto's picked up a drive-through for speeding under safety car. That's going to be massively impactful on his race as well, and it'll help Russell move up another position after that hectic race start where he stalled on the grid. I think he dropped as far back as P9, but he's fought his way back a little bit. But Moto, unfortunately, will not be able to capitalize on the safety car as I felt he would, because he's sped under the safety car because of the delta exceeding a bit too much, and that's really bad for Moto. That's not going to help his chances at all. But we see Envy diving into the pit lane, actually manages to get past Banat there, jumps him a little bit. You can ignore the delta when you're coming into the pit lane because it does disappear when you enable the pit limiter, so you can ignore it a little bit and take advantage of it if you will. But Banat is jumped by Envy as he goes into the pit lane, and yeah, Moto chooses to stay out, but ultimately he'll have to serve a drive through, which is about 20 seconds lost. So he's going to be hoping for another safety car as much as possible, or he'll at least hope that the safety car picks up a move on, and maybe he can serve the DT before these guys catch up to the safety car queue.
How did Envy end up losing so much time in the pits? I mean, did he have a fronting damage or something?
It's possible. I think he may potentially have had some damage, although I think it's his AI that's currently driving for him. I don't.
Guys, I'll be right back. Just carry on. Just give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, cool.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty smart move from Envy trying to go for an overtake in the pit lane. Of course, he can do that. It's within the rules to go for moves like that. Of course, it's in a bit of a gray area, but it's still part of the rules. But looking at Moto, one important information that I want to provide to everyone who's watching right now, Moto can't, of course, serve his drive-through right now under safety car. It's not possible for him to serve that. He'll have to wait for the safety car to finish, or sorry, the safety car to go into the pits again, do one lap around the track, and then of course enter the pits to serve his drive-through. If he doesn't serve that drive-through, he's just going to get disqualified from the race, which is something he doesn't want to do right now. Of course, a safety car, within the first 5 laps, everyone knew that the soft runners were going to dive into the pits for those mediums, and I think those mediums can easily go, at least 20 laps with these conditions right now. So it looks to be a simple race for these soft runners, soft to medium runners, but one more safety car can of course change it. And looking at the pace of everyone from the first few laps, everyone was so close to each other. I doubt that there could be a small chance for us to receive another safety car later in the race. And if that happens, then it could work, or it could play right into the hands of these medium tire drivers right now, who are on like 5-lap mediums, who are just right now Black Sheep and Moto. If that works out, then it's just going to be a difficult race for of course, the rest of these drivers can pit as well, but they'll regain a lot of positions by the end of it, by the end of that safety car period.
Curious to see what Akash is planning. He's obviously stayed out on that set of softs, so he's probably got another, maybe 5, 6, maximum 7 or 8 laps on those softs before they start to show signs of wear potentially.
I don't understand. He doesn't even have a teammate right now in the other Red Bull seat, so I don't understand why he didn't go into the pits or dive in the pits. It's 5 lap old soft. I don't think they can last for a few. Maybe they might last for 3, 4 more laps. But I don't know. Track position right now with a safety car is so early. I just felt like he should have dived into the pits. He would have a better chance maybe in the middle of the race. Like I remember seeing, I believe it was again
who Akash leads us away for the safety car restart. The safety car did come in this lap, I believe, so we are green and underway. So Akash got a decent start there, and Helium is now coming into the pits. Interesting choice for him to pit just as the safety car went green.
I don't understand why he's pitting for soft at the moment. I mean, is he hoping for a safety car in the next few laps? But still, it's a weird move. Maybe we might see the strategy doing something to him later in the race. But as we were speaking, I believe didn't Black Sheep have to defend against Aradhya, who was just around the inside of turn 5, and Ashley spins.
Oh dear.
Yeah, unfortunately for that.
Strategy worked out really well for him at the beginning. The safety car would have helped him out massively as well to at least keep up with Aradhya, but unfortunately Ashray suffers a spin that's going to derail this first part of the race for him. He'll be hoping for a safety car to get back into it, but yeah, we were on board with Black Sheep coming through that first sector on the previous lap, and I just thought that he had missed the apex, and then the action cam switches and it immediately shows that there's a McLaren on the inside. I was thinking, damn, Aradhya is being very, very audacious with these overtakes. Trying it at turn 5 is a bold move for sure, but potentially Black Sheep may have run a little wide, but Black Sheep also being very respectful with space, not cutting off the front wing or not just closing the door off prematurely. That's good racecraft from Black Sheep, a tier 1 veteran as well, so he knows exactly what he's doing. But yeah, Envy's AI is right on pace right now. Is actually challenging Banath. I'm not sure if it's AI right now. It did keep showing that Envy is connecting and disconnecting to the server, so they're going to assume that he's driving. But if the AI suddenly starts making stupid decisions like pitting for hard tires, then we'll know that it's the AI in control. But Banath is now having to deal with the pressure of the Ferrari in his rear view mirror, all back of the harsh driver. I'm not quite sure why Banath is struggling through the dirty air this much, as I can't really tell who's in control anymore, as Aradhya makes a mistake coming out of Junkao corner. Turn 14 makes a little mistake, has to concede one position. Banath will it be 2 positions as he's going wheel to wheel with AI Envy or actual Envy? We won't know because he keeps ghosting through everyone, but I think it's actual Envy because that's a really good overtake from him, really well judged, and also by Aradhya to make sure and realize the threat. But he's made a very silly mistake there to give away 2 positions, and that's potentially going to jeopardize his chance of winning this race, because as of now the net P1 is Banath, considering the safety car and considering the strategies everyone's on. And obviously Akash and Black Sheep haven't pitted yet, and while we were talking, Moto has pitted or rather has served his DT, so now he's devoid of any kind of penalty. Everyone is ghosting through Envy right now, not quite sure what's going on. And yeah, I think Aradhya realizes that as well, as he thinks he can get a free overtake, as there's a yellow flag in sector 2. No, I believe that's Ashray's had a little bit of an off, another spin, not quite sure, but he's recovered it seems like, without too much damage, as Aradhya tries to drive through Envy and manages to do so.
Yeah, I mean, I understand Aradhya's frustration right now, because before the safety car he had a 1.5-second gap. He was clear of everyone behind him. He was on the DRS step, but now he has to do that all over again, where he has to create that gap. He has to first overtake the drivers that retain track position in the safety car, and after that he has to make sure that he can get out of the DRS range, which is hard to do when DRS is already enabled. You know, at the start of the race, you have two laps where DRS is not enabled, so you can create a gap if you're managing ERS well, if you're managing your exits well. But with DRS, it's going to be difficult. And as we're seeing, NB goes for a move on Arab here right now. I think NB's utilizing the fact that he's ghosting very well because he can go for these bit of late breaking moves. I'm not sure what's happening here, but of course, hopefully, and we can fix this later on, so we can actually have some wheel-to-wheel racing. Because right now it's getting a bit silly watching drivers just go to each other. But yeah, right now as we're speaking, Aradhya is just trying to go for a move. He's got a better exit at the corner, more speed. But right now, I think Aradhya is slightly getting frustrated by Envy because he just can't seem to leave him behind.
And
Envy
four
goes
wide.
It's gonna be 4 wide. Oh my god!
I can't help but laugh at this situation. It just seems like F1 in online you have those 5-lapper in beginner mode where everybody goes through everybody and everybody can take the optimum line absolutely everywhere. It just seems like Envy is a blue flag car right now. He's just giving everyone dirty air behind him and just trying to make every time bomb happen. That was hilarious to watch. But Envy now, I think he made a mistake somewhere, and Rizzle has also overtaken him. I think those the medium tire, not, I don't think it's really a tire advantage for Rizzle really. I think Envy has just had a little bit of a moment. I think he's slowing down a bit, maybe have run out of ERS after pushing so hard with Aradhya. But the battle is really heating up ahead as Black Sheep overtakes Banat. Oh, sorry, Banat overtakes Black Sheep, and now the net race lead has changed again because Banat is on a fresh set of mediums, whereas Black Sheep still has not pitted yet. He's on the reverse strategy as Aradhya looks up the inside of the Alpine. Will he make the move stick? Ooh, he's pushed to the inside. It's awfully close, but he does have to keep position as Black Sheep defended fantastically well. Envy, I believe he retired in the pit lane, so there won't be a safety car for that retirement. I think that's a smart decision from Envy, considering he's been ghosting around and it's causing a little bit of trouble for all the other drivers around him. I don't think they'll be looking on that lightly. I don't think they've been looking down on that very positively. So now that he's out of the way, all these guys can focus on their race.
I was about to say, if Envy is going to go for the entire race, then he doesn't have to worry about damage. But that's done for now. So thankfully, Envy has decided to pit. Hopefully now we can see some actual wheel-to-wheel racing. Aradhya right now had the amazing start in the race, but now it's lost a few positions. His main focus right now is to catch up to Banat, who is looking like he has right now an easy win on his hands. But again, this is Brazil. Overtaking is part of this track and part of its culture. So hopefully we can see Aradhya pull it back into or go back into focus mode and start catching up again. While we're seeing, it looks like Black Sheep is still keeping up pace with Aradhya and Banat because he's staying with the DRS, which is quite remarkable because he is on 12 lap of medium and still he's able to keep up pace with these cars. So maybe the DRS that he's receiving off Banat might help him later in the race with his pit stops. But yeah, Aradhya is just hunting him down. He's all over the back of Black Sheep and just looking for a chance to go for an overtake. I mean, this is one chance, but you have to break a bit too late to get an opportunity to overtake at turns 11 and 12. But right now we're seeing them go to, we're starting to see them move towards the starting straight. This is extremely important because Aradhya needs to get a better exit than Black Sheep if he's planning to go for an overtake. I wonder, Black Sheep has the RS, so does Aradhya. Now the name of the game is who can break late. But I feel like Aradhya won't go for a move or dive bomb right now. It's just too risky to go for a move from that far back. Right now, maybe, luckily for Aradhya, Black Sheep is able to keep up with Banat. So relatively, Aradhya is not losing a lot of time behind Banat. He's still able to maintain that gap, and he goes off a bite a bit. Maybe he got a warning there. Hopefully he can keep penalties out of this race because that would completely ruin his race and his strategy. And again, all over the back of Banat in all over the back of Black Sheep in Sector 3, but unfortunately unable to go for a move because of lack of straight there. Um, again, Black
Interesting to
Sheep.
note. It's very interesting to note that Banat isn't gaining too much time, even though he's on a fresh set of mediums. I mean, Black Sheep is doing a fantastic job keeping up with Banat, and he's had the benefit of DRS as well. I'm not denying, but Banat somehow managed to not pull too much of a gap, and Aradhya bullies his way past Black Sheep. Black Sheep tried to cover the inside briefly, but has to concede, and he might be on the verge of losing two positions here.
Yeah, it looks like Ricey got an amazing exit out that corner, and Black Sheep just had the bad end of that corner, because of Aradhya's inside move and just lost two positions right there. One of the things I'm gonna focus on right now is Akash. He has a 1.5-second gap with 14 lap old softs. I wonder what Banat. Again, you're right. Banat's pace is not good enough because again, those tires must be shot to hell. And Akash still has 1.45 seconds. I wonder if Banat was actually giving Black Sheep some of that DRS or playing a strategic game by giving Black Sheep some of that DRS rather than finishing, rather than increasing that gap, because again he's probably thinking about saving some of his tires because he knows tire wear will be an important factor in the end. So I wonder if he was actually giving DRS on purpose to Black Sheep so that he could get Aradhya behind for actually some laps. And it looks like Akash has decided to pit finally 15 laps on those soft, amazing spins on those soft tires. So amazing incredible job. Let's see what he can pull off later in the race with those mediums on. But yeah, now the important question is, of course, Aradhya has DRS, but how badly damaged are Aradhya's tires, because he was fighting Black Sheep for most of that safety car restart, or most of those laps after the safety car restart.
He's currently green. He's improving on his personal times. His tires, front tires, are looking a little bit yellow, a little bit orange. Well, you could say it's probably at that 25 to 30% mark, if not a little bit more than that, as Moto has spun the car around coming through turn 5. And that will be pretty much the end of the race for Moto. I don't think there's a chance for him to recover much unless there is a safety car. And he's also carrying a 3-second penalty, it seems like. So not a good race for the Haas driver. But as I mentioned earlier, he's taking this easy. He's just having a little bit of fun because his two main championship rivals are currently not racing, as Aradhya is making the most of the fact that he's got a little bit of clear air and an opportunity to get past Banat now. They're both on similar strategies, 11 lap old medium tires in the second stint. In lap 17, they both finally go wheel to wheel, having been separated by a few drivers in between. Aradhya and Banat are now potentially fighting for the net race leaders. Aradhya tries to go round the outside Hamilton style as he goes very, very far off track, has to rejoin, make sure that he doesn't spin in the process. And that will be another warning for the McLaren driver, who's really, really running his luck right now. Very audacious move around the outside, but did not stick. And Banat still retains the race lead, although this battle here will be helping out Rissel massively, who's managed to catch them up. He's only about 7/10 away from Aradhya right now within DRS, so there'll be an opportunity for him to close up a bit more on the next DRS straight, which is the back straight / front straight, because there's only one really big sort of slightly not straight at Interlagos. And Banat will now have something to think about, because obviously until now he's had Black Sheep and I believe Akash also as a little bit of a buffer, if you will, but now he'll have to show all the racecraft that he's developed so far in the season. 10 rounds of experience in Tier 1 for Banat. Does he make a big effort to defend? It does seem like he hugged the inside line as much as possible, but Aradhya had a little too much speed and he gets past pretty easily. And now it's not quite done for him, as now he has to also defend from Ristel, but he does have the benefit of DRS now. So it's going to be curious to see how Banat manages this race. His tires are looking good for now, but it's going to be interesting to see how well he can manage those tires in the dirty air, because he's no longer got clean air ahead of him.
Yeah, definitely. I was wondering how much DRS Banat also had at the same time, but it looks like he was using a lot of his DRS trying to keep Aradhya behind. So unfortunately, while Aradhya had the benefit of DRS, Banat couldn't use his DRS. So unfortunately, now he's going to have to go back try to find a way to keep Aradhya in his DRS, which he's finding difficult to do right now. He's losing a lot of pace behind another dirty, in the dirty of another car. He's lost 9/10 already. Of course, he'll have the benefit of 2 DRS straight right now. But I wonder how much they would help. But yeah, he is catching up. He's gaining 10th. He gained a lot of time in that one straight, and now I wonder if he's got enough pace to go for a move in turn 4. He's going to have the assistance of DRS at this point, and Moto gets a time penalty. 3 seconds.
That'll be 6 seconds now in total for Moto, so I think his race is well and truly done now. He's 28 seconds behind Ashray, so I think, he's 3 seconds behind Ashray, who himself is 29 seconds behind the rest of the field. As there's a yellow flag, Ashray has spun again. Correction, Ashray is now at the back of the field, and Moto is 30 seconds off the field. So, yeah, not a good race for those two boys, but yeah, it's a long race. It's still not done. We're only halfway through, and only time will tell.
Yeah, I wonder if this is part of Moto's comeback plan. If he's planning to, go for some risky moves in the last 10 laps of the race. But yeah, for now it looks like Moto is out of contention for at least podium at this point. While we're focusing on, the guys ahead, Whistle looks like he's lost a lot of time behind Banat and is now out of DRS contention. But again, he can come back once again if Banat and Aradhya start fighting, because if you start fighting in the first sector, you're going to lose a lot of time, because again it of course messes up your racing line. It of course adds a lot of complications in terms of how fast you can get out of your corner. So it could bring back Whistle into the fight. But yeah, for now Whistle is out of the fight for P1. It's between Banat and Aradhya, who are who Banat is able to maintain the gap, but is unfortunately a bit too far away to go for a move at this stage of the race. I wonder what Helium is doing down there with 12 lap old cars. I guess he's just sticking behind Akash right now, trying to use his DRS to at least gain a few positions, maybe if he can. Or hoping
Helium is probably relying on another safety car, not gonna lie to you. I think he's betting or hoping that there's another safety car, at least, as I think Ashray has spun. Oh no, Dawn has spun coming out of the penultimate corner. So again, not a good race for the Williams driver. He'll find himself a little bit further off those front-running positions. I think he finds him. I think it's still a yellow flag. I think that's just a game trying to sort itself out. There we go. Dan, if you can just bring up the telemetry, if we can.
Yeah, but I wonder if, again, with the amount of times Ashray is spinning out, I believe there's a high chance maybe Ashray might bring out the safety car if he, spins out at the wrong corner at the wrong time.
I think turn 3 could be potentially a place where we see somewhat spinning, and I think that's a car slowing down on the pit straight. I think that might... it's Don. He's retired from the race, but he's retired in the pit lane, so it brought out a yellow flag. That's not too much of an issue. So it's another driver not able to complete the race today. Brazil has already claimed a couple of names so far.
Unfortunately, Banat has lost a lot of time in the last lap. He's now 1.2 seconds behind. He won't have the benefit of DRS. It's now up to Aradhya to maintain that gap. Again, we've seen Aradhya do that before. We've seen Aradhya, pull away and sort of maintain that gap with his ERS management and everything. But yeah, looking at the race, unless there's a safety car, we won't see anything interesting happen for a while at least. Yeah, so now we're following, of course, Aradhya. Of course, on the 16 lap old mediums, again, he has to at least get 10 more laps on them. Yeah, it is possible, but it's gonna be at the very brink of it. I wonder if they'll actually be able to pull off these mediums till the end, or is Aradhya planning to go for a two-stopper with soft tires on?
30 laps with the mediums is a very big ask, even for the best tire managers out there. 30 laps around a high wear circuit like Brazil is going to be a big ask. So Aradhya is definitely going to be taking these mediums for as long as possible, but he's probably going to be coming in for a fresh set of softs somewhere around the 25 or 26 lap mark. So it'll be interesting to see how these top 4 guys go. I mean, we're seeing Black Sheep running still on that initial set of medium tires. Again, he's probably hoping for another safety car as well. But assuming he's still managing to do a fantastic job of keeping up with these guys. By the way, just 2 seconds off those guys on 22 lap old mediums is a fantastic bit of driving there from Black Sheep thus far. So I'm curious to see how he is going to work out in this latter half of the race. As you said, the undercut is very powerful here. So if he manages to pit a lap earlier with the softs and really put in a great out lap, there's a chance he undercuts all 4 of those drivers, or maybe at least 2 or 3 of those drivers, because they're in close proximity to each other, and more importantly, they're having to deal with each other's dirty air. Whereas Black Sheep is, I would say, a little bit of. I think he's also right in that dirty air kind of window, when even more testament to his ability.
I think right now Aradhya and Banat are waiting for Black Sheep to put on his softs and see how fast he's going on his lap. I think that would be a good indicator for these guys in the front. If they're supposed to go on their softs right now, is it worth it to jump on those softs? Because again, you have to pick, and again, Black Sheep is coming in right now, so we'll see soon enough whether those soft tires are really the tire to be on right now. And so is Aradhya pitting at this point. So Aradhya is not leaving anything up to chance. He's going for the 2 stops, and so this has made this race more interesting because Aradhya now has the benefit of the undercut. Again, let's hope Aradhya saves enough ERS for this, because he need it for because he's gonna have to put a stonking lap right now, unless Banat decides to stay out on his 18 lap mediums, which again feel like it's gonna be a difficult stint for Banat. Looking at Aradhya, I wonder how far back is he right now. Yeah, it looks like he is
about 15, 16 seconds behind. Yeah, about 16 and a bit seconds behind. As Black Sheep picks up a 3-second time penalty, that will not help his chances at all. The Alpine driver picking up 3 warnings, and as a result has to pick up a 3-second time penalty. So he's got more work to do, assuming he gets up to the front again. Curious to see just how long Banat and Rissel, or to speak of the devil, they're both. Rissel is diving into the pits at least. The 18-lap old mediums have finally come to an end for Rissel at least, and he's going for a fresh set of softs.
I wonder if Banat is gonna. You're looking at Aradhya's lap. He's got a purple middle sector. I mean, those guys are working well for now. I wonder if this decision is gonna cost him or cost Banat his win, because we can see, of course, Aradhya is pushing, and right now he has a lot of free air, which means he'll be extremely quick in that car. And I wonder if this decision might sting Banat back, might come back to sting Banat later on. It's just gonna cost him maybe 2 positions. But the important factor now is, if Banat is planning on keeping those tires on, how far can he push it without getting a puncture? Because as soon as he gets a puncture, his race will go from bad to worse.
Coming into pits now. So he is not taking the risk there. He is committing to the 2-stop as well. So we'll see how far ahead or behind Banat comes out.
I think if we can just stay on Aradhya for the time being, I think Aradhya's got an easy P1 right now. Looking at his lap, he was able to reduce that 16-second gap into 13 seconds right before Banat went to pit. So I think he's going to have a 5-second benefit. Yes, a 6-second benefit. Sorry, it looks like it's a 5-second. That's sorry.
About 5 seconds is what Banat has come out. The undercut has worked perfectly for Aradhya, as Banat comes out and instantly goes wheel to wheel with Rissel, who's got those soft tires turned on. Banat still on cold soft. This won't be a good battle for him. He'll probably get eaten up by Rissel in the second sector. Not really much place to overtake though for the Mercedes driver. But while we were talking about these front runners, Akash Sonawane has managed to silently slip his way into P1 almost unnoticed. I didn't notice it until we started watching the timing sheets to see where Aradhya would come out relative to Banat, but if Akash can keep those medium tires going, there's a solid chance he can get on the podium today. And I have to say that's a long overdue chance. So I'm not going to be talking much about Akash in the hope that I won't jinx him towards the end of the race. But he's managed to play off the strategy to perfection. And assuming Banath and Rizzle keep fighting, which it does seem like they're both going to do on this fresh set of softs, and assuming Black Sheep gets involved as well, Aradhya and Akash might run away for an 1-2. I mean, it's not a 1-2 for a particular team in specific, but it's going to be a 1-2 for them respectively. And I think Aradhya will get past Akash. I don't think that's going to be much of a competition as Banath looks to go around the outside. It's Max Verstappen versus Hamilton all over again. It's great racing from Tier 1 boys here. Really, really close, keeping it very tight, not giving each other an inch more than necessary as they bang wheels, and Rizzle pulleys his way past. A little bit of damage there for Banath maybe. It doesn't seem like it, but he's immediately having to defend from Black Sheep. He'll have the inside line. Still going side by side, but Black Sheep also goes around the outside on a one set of soft. But Black Sheep really does have to get a move on if he wants to make those 3 seconds sort of irrelevant. He'll really have to put 3 seconds between himself and any driver behind him. So I can kindly understand the desperation there from Black Sheep to get past, and they've both really left Banath in the dusty, already 1.4 seconds clear. So yeah, Banath having some work to do, and the coming out on the coming out on cold soft tires didn't really benefit Banath here, and yeah, the undercut has
hitting as well. I think he must have damage on his front wing because he's pitting it right now. I think that move from the Mercedes may have it cost him his wing. I think there's a report coming towards Rizzle at the end of this race.
Oh no! Black Sheep picks up another 3-second time penalty while you were talking, but yeah, but
that
he
was
had a light
Rizzle actually.
Oh, was it Rizzle? Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Okay, yeah, my apologies then. I thought Black Sheep penalty came up with a little bit of confusion. But Rizzle picks up a 3-second time penalty. Tell you what though, all of this is shaping out very nicely for Akash Gunavanev to get that P2, if not P1 today, because it does seem like Aradhya is on his A game today. No pun on his name. His name is Aradhya, but he's on his A game today as he opens up the DRS. Does not need ERS at all, but he's still going to give it a mighty fine squirt, and he gets past both of them up into the race lead. And I think it's been a long time coming for Aradhya, who's had to contest with some of the drivers in the midfield, hovering around P4, P5, but now he's well and truly in the race lead, and with not many laps to go, it seems like clean sailing for the McLaren driver, who will pick up, I believe, McLaren's second win of the season, if I'm not wrong. No, I think Wilster did finish on the podium, but unfortunately Mara did get the win at France. So I think this will be their second podium of the season, and I think their first win. So very, very good points for McLaren in the constructors.
I think one of the key losers from this race could be Banath and Moto. I think they both Banath had a really good weekend, but unfortunately lost it in the end because of a pit strategy that went bad for him. Again, looking at Akash right now, I think he probably wants to stick in the DRS or stick within 1 second behind Aradhya, because these guys behind him are of course on those fresh soft tires. I wonder how fast they can catch up. He still has six more laps to go, and the gap is roughly around 6 seconds. So I wonder how well Akash can keep Rizzle and Black Sheep behind. These penalties though that Rizzle and Black Sheep have picked up will in the end favor Akash. So maybe getting a podium today is highly possible for Akash. And again, amazing display, a total silence, a silent podium finisher today, because we never expected him to finish up here, but he's just shown that he can maintain his tires, he can maintain that gap, he can make sure that things work for him in his favor at the end of the race.
Another thing to also keep in mind going towards the latter half of the race is also helium. He's on a set of softs and he's in clean air, and helium in clean air is an absolute machine. And I've seen that delta drop from 6.8 to 5.8 in the last lap, and it's dropping even more. So something tells me there's going to be a possibility that he gets within 3 seconds of Black Sheep. And if he does, he'll be able to potentially fight for a podium position, if not on track, because I feel like Rizzle might get the podium on track. But if he can get within a couple of, if he can get within 3 seconds of Black Sheep, he'll get P4. And if he can get within 5 seconds of Rissil, he might potentially get a podium here, if not on track, as I said, because obviously there's that Banat and Rissil incident to look at. So Rissil may potentially pick up a penalty, which means a podium is on the cards here for Helium if he can keep pushing. It does matter though, because as Black Sheep gets very sideways, and he's
Black
parked it.
Sheep.
He's parallel parked it between two barriers. Oh no!
That's gonna be difficult to do. Oh wow! It looks like Black Sheep's race might have ended. Well, I won't say ended, but most of his race was.
Now swiftly depart from the BC.
But as we were speaking about Helium and Black Sheep, I think, wow. But I wonder, here's the thing. Even though you're on the softs at the end of this race, when you're trying to catch up to another driver, there's one silent disadvantage that you have, is penalties. If you can't keep your track extensions under control, you're going to lose a lot of time in terms of penalties. So Helium, of course, he has to catch up to Rissil, but again, he has to make sure he maintains that, or he doesn't get any penalties later in the race, because that might bite him later on. Might cause a lot of issues for that Aston Martin. But again, a really good chance for him to push that car up into P3. I think that would be a decent result. But now looks like Helium is going to lap Ashray. A pretty awful race for Ashray. He started from P2, ended up getting lapped by his own teammate. Not something you'd like to see, but unfortunately it is the scenario for today. Hopefully he can learn something from that and push on later in the season.
Helium slowly chipping away at Rissil. That delta has come down a little bit more. It was at 6.8 as he came past. The start-finish rate is now at 6.1. But I think Rissil has carried a lot of good pace this race. He's done a really good job on, I believe, his return to Tier 1. I think he's been in Tier 1 before in Season 4 and Season 5. Had a bit of time away from the game, but now he's back. Hence the Rissil, in brackets, washed era. So that's the joke, if anybody didn't get it. He had been in past seasons of IRC.
Aryadhya got a 3-second penalty, just to let you know.
Although I wonder if this is going to give the win to Akash, if he can just start to. But it just depends on how quickly those soft tires start to die. But again, it's going to be a bit of tough ask. But maybe Akash might find himself maybe winning if some incident happens, or if he just racks up another penalty.
I think Aryadhya has been carrying really good pace this race, so I don't really see that happening. 3 seconds is a potential factor for him to maybe allow Akash to slip into P1, but then again, I don't think he's going to be letting that happen. I think if anything, he's going to be pushing even harder from here on out, basically saying, chuck the tires, it doesn't really matter what happens to them. I want this win, and he's pulling out 2-3 tenths every sector, so that 3 seconds is not going to worry him too much, unless of course it becomes 6 seconds, in which case, I mean, he shouldn't be trying to push that hard, but he's got the pace on those soft tires. I don't think he has much to worry about.
I wonder if Ashray is trying to give DRS to his teammate. He's ahead of him. It would probably make sense for him to have DRS so that he can catch up to...
I think it's the other way around. I think Helium is trying to give DRS to Ashray in a hope that Ashray gets fastest lap of the race, which he's just done there. But he's got a time penalty, so it won't really nullify too much, but Ashray picks up fastest lap. I didn't get that impression after he pitted very late on for a fresh set of softs that he was going for fastest lap, and he has picked it up. So credit where credit is due. He will leave with the fastest lap today, and he gets past Helium again. I don't think Helium's fighting for much in this race as well, so he just chooses to give Ashray that DRS for as long as possible. Or actually, yeah, you're right. Ashray was ahead, and he still got fastest lap. So without DRS, damn Ashray, you've got a lot of pace. I'm only imagining how much faster he could have gone had he had DRS, but we can leave the hypotheticals up to the hypothetical gods, if you will.
I can only imagine how fast he would have gone if he didn't spin so many times.
I think you're allowed that take as a fellow Xbox person. I think only you're allowed to make that take. I'm not allowed to. But Ashray picks up fastest lap there. So really good lap from the Aston Martin driver. Unfortunately, the race hasn't gone to plan. But Banat has got back up to Black Sheep, so there may be an opportunity for P6 here, and it compounds Black Sheep's misery even more. Those soft tires after that spin would have been massively overheated and flat spotted as well. So Yeah, it's not looking good for Black Sheep right now, who'll have to concede another position and a few more points, maybe 1 or 2 more points for Banath in the driver's standings. But again, not a good race for the Haas driver either. So it's a battle of let's say not the salvation, trying to salvage as many points as possible is what I tried to say. And yeah, that's what Banath is going for as well. At the front, Risil has caught up to Akash Sonavane, but as long as Akash manages to stay within 3 seconds, even assuming Risil overtakes him, he should still have that P2 pretty comfortably in hand. And I think I'm right in saying, Dan, that all 3 podium finishers this time around will be new podium finishers. I don't think we've had either all 3 of these guys on podium before. Actually, no, Aradhya has featured on the podium once before, but Akash and Risil, I don't think they featured on the podium so far this season. So
Yeah,
That's interesting because, sorry, Dan.
yeah. So yeah, Risil is actually so this is his first race in this season. So yes, obviously he will be on the podium for the first time. Yeah, and the other 2 drivers, of course, Aradhya hasn't. I'm not really sure if Aradhya has got a podium before because he's had a. Okay. Black Sheep, why do you have to cut me off like that? Oh, Black Sheep.
he also cut Banath off right there.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think Aradhya picked up a podium in Hungary. So I think, yeah, this will be his second podium and his first win of the season as well. So very, very good job from the McLaren driver. Unfortunately, Wilster wasn't able to see this race to the finish. I think this would have been a solid points haul for McLaren, so 25 and maybe I think Aradhya is just coming across the finish line now. So a dominant display from the McLaren driver as he weaves across the finish line. A dominant victory for the McLaren driver with 3 seconds of penalties. He will still keep that P1. A brilliant redemption drive from Akash Sonavane, who's had much bad luck this season with early lap 1 incidents and penalties and spins, and this will just be a great motivational uplifter for the Red Bull driver as he's pretty much leading a solo charge in terms of the constructor standings as well. And Ristil on his return will pick up a P3 as there's a helium backwards on the start finish straight as Bonnet will get the position on the line.
Oh wow! And he loses. I don't know what happened there with those Aston Martins, but they're creating a bit of a whiplash. But
I
yeah,
think we're gonna have
amazing
another
move from
collision. Let's see.
Will it be 2-2 for Haas? Let's see.
Be 2 out of 2 for a strike for the Haas team. I don't think it will as he comes across the line. The AI moves.
Yes! Let's go! Yes!
And we get another one.
Yes.
A comical end. Driver of the day for Black Sheep. Well, there you go, Dan. Some small bit of redemption. for Black Sheep people.
Redemption! Like how Captain Holt would say in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Is that what he says?
Absolutely.
Yes, we at least had to insert one pop culture reference in this race. We've done our quota. You see that?
We can insert an IRC reference and say insert these as we witness the podium celebrations. A very, very good victory there for McLaren as well. Aradhya, dominant display. Akash in P2, I'll be looking forward to speaking to him in the post-race interviews in a second. Risil as well on his return picks up P3. Helium P4, great recovery drive for him. Banath P5 will have wanted to have more from this race for the Haas driver, but he'll have to settle for P5. Black Sheep P6 after putting on, he's probably the only driver in the whole, actually no, him and Akash both did the one stop. Almost worked out well for him until, of course, he had a spin. Moto will hope to forget this race, Shastry as well, and everyone else. And
Just a note, look at the gap between the fastest laps of both drivers here.
oh my word! I think Shastry would have gotten a little bit faster lap had he had DRS, but he didn't, and he made the most of whatever he could. And I don't think the other drivers finished the race. So Don, Envy, Harry, and Wilster did not finish the race, and I am very, very excited for the podium interviews because of energy in there. Because there's quite a few drivers in there who have seen the podium after an extended period of time. So I'm going to go ahead and drag some of them in. So we have Aradhya and Risil here still waiting on Akash, but I think we can get started in the meantime. Haphazard, why don't you get the podium interview started?
Oh yeah, sure. Let's start with Aradhya. Aradhya, an amazing display of skill from you. I mean, it was a pleasure looking at you hunt down P1 at some points, and then start to create a gap. I mean, at the end, you were able to create a 6-second gap. I think at one point you got a penalty, for 3 seconds, but I don't think that affected your race any bit. I mean, it's a perfect display of how a driver is supposed to react under pressure, and you were under pressure for most of that race. So, your opinion on that? How would you say your race went?
Well, overall, it was a very good race for me. Going into this race, I thought I will just get, 1 or 2 points because, I was having severe cold all week long. So, I wasn't able to practice much. But, at the end, my decision to race turns out to be a pretty good decision actually because I got my first pole in IRC and first win in IRC. But overall, the race, yeah, well, sometimes it was at points, it was very tough for me to, keep the pace up and keep the competition up. On on lap 8, I after the proper final corner, I lost the car, which made Bernard and Black Sheep overtake me, which made my job a bit harder for myself. I will not lie, but then I realized that Black Sheep got out of DRS, so I just decided to overtake straight away around lap 15 or 16. And then same happened with Bernard when Akash decided to pit. And then for the second pit stop round for me, when I got on the soft on lap 23, I was like, okay, if I just don't make any mistake right now, I know that I can overtake Akash for sure. And yeah, just overall, just I was able to overtake him easily. And I actually pulled out way more than I thought. I thought because my tires were also starting to go off. I thought I will only be, 2-3 seconds ahead of him, but I turned out to be 6 seconds ahead of him. So I'm quite happy with that. And yeah, my first win IRC.
Yeah, definitely a good one. I think one key detail with your last stint on that soft tire was the massive undercut you got on Banat, because at that moment you were fighting against Banat. Of course, at that time when you entered the pit, you had 2 seconds worth of a gap between you and Banat, and when everything happened, when Banat went back, into the pits, when he got his pit stop done, of course, the overcut didn't work for him. He was basically behind, 5 seconds behind you. I think that probably helped you a lot, because what happened is Panat ended up losing a lot of time in traffic because he was fighting against Rissel and other drivers in India, and that destroyed some of his race. So again, an amazing strategic call. I think the best time to go on those soft tires, and yeah, an amazing job from your side. I think there's nothing else you could have done that would be better. You started on pole, you lost the lead in the middle, but of course you gained them back again, and yeah, an amazing display of strategy and racecraft. Moving on to which I believe is Rissel, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, you were calling him Rysel the whole race.
Rice.
It
Sorry,
doesn't matter.
I'm so sorry. I just joined tier 1 commentary, so I'm gonna mess up names a bit. But yeah,
I
Rissel,
think
an
you're right
amazing.
in saying that Rissel also recently joined Tier-1 after a long time away from the game. So this will be an interesting podium interview.
Yeah, definitely. Your debut race, and you're standing on top of the podium. I think that's one of the best ways to start a season off. One of the things I'd focus on is your start. You, unfortunately, of course, you qualified way up there, and I believe it was P2, and ended up, I think, did you stall on the start, or was it some issue with your game or anything? What caused that massive issue at the start of the race where you dropped down to seventh position, I believe?
Um, I don't know because I thought I got a pretty good start, but it just seemed like everyone's lights went out before mine. So yeah, I was pretty I was pretty confused there. But
Oh,
yeah, not I don't think that was a big issue, to be honest. I made I think 2 other mistakes in the race. I lost the car twice. I almost ended up in the wall in the final sector. But uh yeah, I don't really care about the result, to be honest. I'm just happy I finished the race.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, we saw a lot of people losing their cars and DNFing. Some of them lost their cars and went into walls, or just went off track and completely lost their position. So again, it's quite a surprise, or not even a surprise. It's quite an achievement to finish the race, staying so far ahead and maintaining that position. So you were saying something, ATL?
Yeah, just welcome back. Hopefully, we see more of you in the league. I think it's been a while. I think the last time you were here is season 5 or season 6. So Welcome back to Tier 1. Great way to get it started. I think you had a little bit of a coming together with Banat towards the end of the race, so hopefully that doesn't affect the result too much. But yeah, great race from you, man. Well managed. P3 for you. Good start. Good start, I say. Good mid-season start for you. And hopefully you can carry that form for going forward in the season. So well done. Um, a final word, I think, should go out to Akash Sonawane. Unfortunately, he's unable to join the podium interview. I think he was late already for something. I think he needed to leave the house immediately. So he has just mentioned briefly that in the chat that it was a perfect race from him, no real mistakes. He would make the strategy work well. And he just said congratulations to Aradhya for making the strategy work and kudos to him. So well done to Akash on your podium. That was a great podium from you as well. After all the luck that you've had, bad luck that you've had this season, I think a podium is a great bit of redemption for you, mate. So sorry you couldn't make it to the podium interview, but yeah, the little moment for you to celebrate if you watch the stream back later. Great drive from you, and thank you once again to the podium interview, podium drivers for joining us in the podium interview. It was a great race, and I definitely enjoyed it in the commentary box. Haphazard, any final concluding thoughts before we wrap it up for the?
No, I mean, I think my expectations were met. I expected an amazing race. I got one, an amazing race with some new podium finishes. That's all you want from F1, when you're tuning in. So yeah, an amazing race, amazing day.
Thank you everyone for watching. As always, our socials are on your screen right now. We're available on Instagram and Twitter. And of course, our Discord link will be given down in the description below if you want to get involved in the action. We have a lot of hype leading up to the F1 2022 game as well. We've seen a lot of teaser clips here and there over the past couple of days. So there might be information about the next season on F1 2022. A lot of interesting racing that goes on in IRC, and we hope to see you there as well, and we hope you can get involved. Thank you very much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe as always, and we will see you for the next race. Take care. Good night.